All right, welcome to another edition of the Rowdy Roundtable. We're going to talk a little Carl Edwards, but specifically we're going to talk about his comments after the Michigan race, where he basically called out NASCAR and said, listen, guys, I hope you took note and you take away some of the downforce from these cars in 2013. It's not the first time we've heard him express similar sentiments.
That's right. Here's what he had to say after the race.
The thing that needs to be recognized at these racetracks is that the car in front has the advantage. And the reason that is because we rely on downforce. These are stock cars. We shouldn't rely on downforce. And I hope NASCAR takes the opportunity with this 2013 car to take downforce away so that guys can pass and you don't just come out third and get stuck there. That's no fun.
Okay, so let's get into this because we know from watching races this year that we've almost seen a reversal from what you expect on short tracks and what you expect on a wide, fast, intermediate racetrack, which is, you used to think of short tracks as track position races. Bristol, one groove track, button and banging, you got to stay up.
Well, it hasn't been one groove since the recade.
It hasn't, but, Martinsville, one groove track. Richmond's a little wider, but still, track position on a short track really important. You come to a Michigan, you're like, you can race from the top to the bottom, drivers has options, there's plenty of room to get by. When you get to Michigan and you see a track position race, you've got to wonder, and Carl Edwards is bringing it up very directly, do we need to make some changes at all? What can we do to make sure guys can pass for the lead?
Here's the difference, and here's what I think Carl Edwards' point is, and we've heard other people make this point. I remember talking to Travis Geisler about it. Mechanical grip doesn't go away in traffic. The grip you get from where the tires meet the asphalt.
The grip you get from the weight distribution of the car and how it shifts around.
Aerodynamic grip
goes away.
So Carl Edwards' point is, let's not depend on this thing we can't count on, because if we depend on it and it goes away, well, we're just stuck where we are on the racetrack. We can't pass anybody. Now, whereas if we're relying on mechanical grip and it's constant, we can deal with that, right?
That's right. But I think the problem that you have is you're going to have to take away so much downforce to get the cars more to the mechanical grip side. The problem is, let's say, for example, and I'll just throw these numbers out. They're not based on anything. But let's say I have 2,000 pounds of downforce.
That's not the Rowdy way.
Let's say I have 2,000 pounds of downforce.
Right.
And I take 100 pounds away. That's whatever percentage of 100 is whatever percentage of 2,000. If I have 1,000 pounds of downforce and I take away 100 pounds of downforce, I've just taken away 10%. If it's 2,000, I've taken away 5%. So if I get behind you and you take air off my car and I lose 100 pounds of downforce, it's worse the less downforce I have, until you get to such a point where the downforce doesn't really matter that much and mechanical grip matters a lot. So if you take a little bit of downforce away, you're just making downforce, or whether you have it or not, more important. You have to take a ton away for it to get back to more of a mechanical grip situation. And I think that's the problem NASCAR has, is that are they really going to take downforce away? Are they really going to take that much away so that it's a mechanical grip race again? And if they're not, and they just take away a little bit, maybe downforce is even more important, sort of the way horsepower is more important on a plate track. You cut the horsepower in half, now 2 horsepower, 3 horsepower becomes even more important. So I think that's the dilemma that NASCAR really has when it comes to aerodynamics and this kind of racing. Don't forget, the car of tomorrow has less downforce than the car we gave up.
A bigger dilemma than track position races? Which is the bigger dilemma and which is the bigger problem?
I'm just saying, if you take away downforce, you might make the problem worse.
You might. The law of unintended consequences rears its ugly head constantly in this sport. We know that. But I think the bigger point is Carl Edwards is saying, look, something has to be done, NASCAR, and you have the opportunity now because you're designing a new car for 2013.
Well, here's the other point I'd like to make, Cutler, and that is, maybe part of the issue is what some other crew chiefs have talked about and some other drivers have talked about, which is these cars are so close in speed. They're so close in speed that little bit of downforce change means I can't overcome it because I'm only that much faster than the dude anyway. You take away a little bit of my downforce, I can't overcome it. Maybe the box, the mechanical grip box, and even the aero box that these crew chiefs and teams can play in needs to get bigger so that the difference in speed can get bigger. So we see more comers and more goers. And that way, if I lose a tick of downforce off my nose, maybe my car's still fast enough to overcome it. After all, we do see passes in these races when the car trying to make the pass is enough faster than the car's trying to pass. But what happens at the end of the race is all the good cars are at the front now. And so they're all really close in speed. So that little bit of downforce makes a huge difference. That's what we need to counter. I'm just not sure if you take away 100 or 200 pounds of downforce, you're not going to make the situation worse.
Well, I'm not an aerodynamicist.
Neither am
nor
I.
am I a mechanical engineer, but I agree with Carl Edwards that it is time to do something about it. And since you've got a new car in the design process now is the time to address the issue.
I agree with that as well. I think maybe bigger box, though. Bigger box.
Bigger box. And then you can get outside of the box.
Oh, no, you can't.
Because it's too big?
No, you can't get outside the box or you get fined.
I thought that was what the sort of cliche was.
Thinking outside the box?
Outside the back. That was like the big thing these days.
I'm thinking it's time for us to wrap this little discussion up. Lots to think about, lots to talk about with this particular issue. 2013 is a very big year for NASCAR.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.